evening. We are going to get started with tonight's meeting of the Citizens Law Enforcement Review Board. And Mr. Mendelson, if you could help me call the roll.
Chair Pintar.
Present.
Vice Chair Mendelson is present. Secretary Pisano, we know is absent. Dr. Brown. Here. Ariana Federico Hamilton.
Here.
Ariana.
Here.
And Nadia Kina is currently absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. And just to remind the board members, since we haven't been up here before, to speak, you turn on the button on the right on the microphones. It says mic on and off. And please remember to turn your microphones on so people on the Zoom can hear us. Now we will move. There are no statements for cause. No one is participating virtually. We will move to public comment. Norris, if you want to call the first speaker.
First, we will call Patricia.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patricia DeArmond. My brother is Christopher DeArmond, who was killed by San Diego police. I know you guys can only assist with matters of the sheriff's, but I am going to retell his story shortly and then focus on what the sheriff's did. My brother was pulled over for a broken third tail light. Things were escalated by San Diego Police Department. It led to a pursuit. Before he was pursued, he was pepper sprayed in the face by the sergeant. He got off, he was shot excessively, 28 rounds, some of which included non-department issued hollow point ammunition by Officer Jacob Myers. And after he was shot, 11 minutes after Kina was deployed, he was dragged. He was bitten and dragged and left to bleed out on the street. None of the cops were found guilty of any wrongdoing, all justified. How are non-department issued hollow point ammunition not illegal? Why are they allowed to shoot a victim with hollow points? When are we going to put an end to hollow points? And when will we have independent case reviews and investigations? Blue on blue investigations lead to bias investigations. As we noted, hearing the interviews conducted by San Diego sheriffs in my brother's case. The sheriff coached the police officers on how to answer. Myers was coached, stating that you were calm, cool, and collected, right? Even though he showed on video, he was nothing of that. He threw his keys up and he opened that door as quickly as he can, as nervously as he did. That is not calm, cool, and collected. And refusing medical aid twice. How is this not illegal? Us impacted families, we deserve justice, and law enforcement should do the right thing by protecting the people. They call themselves America's finest, and they are not. Nowhere near that.
Thank you, Patricia. Your time is up. Next, I will call Eunice.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Quinones. I'm here regarding the situation happening in Chrome. Just this past month, the first and also the end of January, regarding a woman who essentially died because of an officer's decision not to get out of her vehicle to do a welfare check. We need accountability. Also, what we need is the officers to go to training, stop putting labels on human beings. The word the officer used was transient, yet that woman was not a transient. Now it's a cover-up, no investigation. Nobody's coming to my house to talk to me as to what I found when I found that woman in the ditch dying. There has to be some kind of training. If a child did something wrong, you want that child to be accountable. We need the same thing with these officers, the sheriff department. Their decision has an outcome, good or bad. When an officer decided not to get out of the vehicle to check on the welfare, but went in the ditch, drive off, I called again. And the officer called me to a personal phone, chewing me out, telling me, leave her alone. She's a transient. That should not come out of an officer's mouth. Period. It was the saddest death that could happen. So I ask or recommend that these officers go some kind of training to understand or put themselves in the position of these homeless people, transient, or anybody else. We are citizens of this county. There should not be a label on anybody. We're human beings. We need dignity, decency, and understanding.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Quinones, have you filed a complaint with CLERB about this? Because this isn't one that we would automatically review.
I have not yet.
Okay, I would encourage you to do that because some incidents and cases are automatically our jurisdiction to review, but this doesn't sound like it is one of those unless you file a complaint. So, okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next we will call Yusuf Miller.
Hello, my name is Yusuf Miller, and I'm here today to support Mr. Quinones. We are in the process of helping him with the complaint. I'm representing transparency and accountability for probation and parole. I mean, it's not a probation and parole issue, but it's an issue dealing with the sheriff's department. It was a deputy that was called that monitors the Living Grove. It was a deputy who drove by who did not get out of their vehicle to check to see if that person or any person was in that water. And it was 1 day passed, 2 days passed, 3 days passed. That person is still in the water. Mr. Quinones comes out again when his dogs alert him that there's somebody still in there. He tries to pull the person out himself. He can't get her out because of his back injuries from his surgeries. He couldn't pull her out, so he called 911 and they came and they got her out. We did a press conference just before we came in here this morning. We'll see more of it on the news tonight. For 30 days, after she got out, it was August 1st. He first contacted him on August 29th. I'm sorry, July 29th. And then on August 1st, she was removed. Then she passed away on August 3rd in the hospital. She could have been saved on July 29th. And what do we see? Do we see the community is made aware of this neglect? We don't see that. Do we see that the community is aware that there might be someone out there doing something harmful to people, putting them in this situation? We don't see that. It is all hush hush, no transparency. And from what we can tell, no real accountability. So yes, we want to help bring this to your attention. Today was our first time making it public. And we will be following this for transparency and accountability to the family. She was a mother of 3 children, all of which are under the age of 21. She was a sister, she was an aunt. And no one deserves to be lost in such a torturous way that we have in this family.
Thank you. Next we will call Paloma Serna. And I have also a note from Robin Sales that she city cares up to Paloma Serna is really. Chair, I don't see Robin Sales available online, so, clerk council, how we can handle this.
Good evening, Honorable Chair, members of the board. If a person is not where then they cannot engage in public participation, either can if they're not here.
Can they see their time if they're online?
If they're online,
Is she online?
She is not.
Go ahead and proceed.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Elisa Serna, who died in custody on November 11, 2019. I am with Stabilizing Custody California and North County Equity and Justice Coalition. Martinez recently responded to the grand jury report on jail deaths. On paper, it looks like progress, but when you read it closely, it's mostly delays, denials, and excuses. She admits a corporate dashboard would bring transparency and refuses to implement one now. Instead, we get controlled quarterly reports, which is not the same as real accountability. She dismisses the idea that tracking medical and mental health requests publicly would save lives. Families know that families know that it's false. People are still dying because their pleas or care are delayed or ignored. She admits that jail can't properly track grievances and says it won't be fixed until 2026. That's another year where incarcerated people complaints disappear into a black hole. She downplays a failure in safety checks, even though we know too many are not done properly, and who have died as a result. While Kelly brags about lowest death rates and no suicides in 2024, what about the 8 in-custody deaths this year? We are in the month of September. How many more loved ones will we lose this year because of the lack of compassion and neglect? That is not success. That is it's not a success. We need you to push back. Don't just accept what the sheriff hands you. Demand all the videos. Demand all the records. That's the hard question because transparency delayed, we all know it's accountability denied, and every delay costs lives.
Thank you. Next, I will call John Rodriguez.
Jock Rodriguez here for the Saxon Rodriguez in custody death. I just wanted to bring to CLERB's attention that I'm still having problems with the sheriff's department. I've re-engaged since November 2nd and have not had a call back. I am demanding my arrest. I will be bringing it to your attention and letting you know as I can update if anything whatsoever. But as right now, didn't met with great resistance still since I started coming to these CLERB meetings. I thought something was going to happen last meeting, like a phone call today. I also wanted to bring CLERB's attention. What I can do is just give a little bit of a recommendation for CLERB to look into, and that is stop the abuse of the holds on weekends and no one being presented to a judge on Mondays. That might reduce some of these deaths by 50%, to what you guys are already trying. There needs to be some sort of sanction work from the courts judicial, and there seems to be some sort of lag process not being seen on Monday. I think Channel 7 have reported that 8 to 10 deaths. They didn't even get to see a judge for a whole year. Looking at the deaths for, I think it's 2024. So I wanted to bring that to your attention and maybe go into emergency status to try to make that happen on the weekends. It might help prevent some of these deaths. There seems to be some sort of sanction. I also wanted to bring to your charter attention about the charter maybe incorporate U.S. Code 18 subsection 2, because you guys are trying to make sure that people are trained. People are not being violated. And that section is the ultimate section for that accountability.
Mr. Rodriguez, thank you so much. Your time is up. Thank you. Next, I will call Ilka.
Hello, my name is Ilka Weston. I am the chair of TAP. And TAP is Transparency and Accountability for youth and adults under probation and parole. There is currently nothing that investigates parole. But what we have found is there needs to be transparency and accountability in all areas. When I got a phone call about Irma Espinoza and her horrific demise, my heart broke.
I related to that situation. I related to the possibility of something like that even being able to happen to me. It is not affordable here. But what we do need to count on are those people in uniforms, and we cannot count on them. When a female officer in the middle of the day pulls up to the site and can see that it's a female and drives away and does nothing but refer to her as a transient and did not do a well care or get out of her car and notice the bruises and no pants or underwear on, thank goodness for community leaders like Richard Quinones. The family is utterly grateful. We are utterly grateful. But you know the heartbreak? 3 children, 11, 19, and 20, that do not have a mother and are afraid because of the guilt of what they did. They didn't do anything wrong. The sheriff's department did. When you talk to the sister who is just so overwhelmed that she didn't bring her children together with her sister because they figured they had time. This is neglectful. The sheriff deputy, all cameras, and frankly, I'm going to say it again, this is further proof why Sheriff Kelly Martinez needs to be removed permanently.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you, and that concludes the speaking person. If you allow me to starts calling it online questions.
Yes, please do that. And just a reminder that if you wanted to speak to the other item for which we had public comment tonight, please do it during this public comment during item number 3.
Thank you. First, I will call Deidre McLeod.
My name is Deirdre McLeod, and I am a constituent of Supervisor Joel Anderson, District 2. My pronouns are she, her. In 2022, CLERB adopted a vision statement that reads in part, to ensure the San Diego Sheriff's Department and San Diego Probation Department provide fair, impartial, and compassionate services with full transparency to the communities they serve. It's ironic that this board demands full transparency from SDSO while banning public input on an agenda item, as you did last month. Restricting comments on a published agenda comes dangerously close to a violation of the First Amendment rights of San Diego residents like me who wanted to publicly comment on the rescission of your letter of support for AB 847. Personally, I wanted to urge CLERB to ask the Board of Supervisors to support AB 847 as allowed by county policy. It is fortunate that a board member also suggested this, as staff was clearly not going to pursue it. AB 847 would go a long way towards giving citizen review boards additional information they need to hold sheriffs to account. It's important legislation, and this board not asking the supervisors to support it would have been the wrong call. Obviously, CLERB believes it had the legal right to restrict comments on the agenda item in question. But as an organization demanding transparency from law enforcement, it is a bad look to not be as transparent as possible yourselves. I urge CLERB to take seriously your constitutional responsibility to let the public speak freely when any agenda item, especially one as important as this, is being discussed.
Thank you. Next, I will call Leslie Crawford.
I'm Leslie Crawford, mother of Raymond Vogelman, 10-5-22, and I'd like to give my time to Yusuf Miller of North County Equity and Justice. Did you hear me?
Yes, we did.
Hello, again, my name is Yusuf Miller, North County Equity and Justice Coalition, Saving Lives Across California. And as was said earlier by Mr. Loma-Cerna, that the Sheriff's Department does not do anything that they're not forced from a higher authority. When we had the audit report, that's the thing that propelled the Sheriff's Department to do something about the custody deaths, and very little, I might add. It wasn't until SB 519 where we had a pressure from the sheriff's department on the sheriff's department to release the CLERB reports, the Critical Incident Review Board reports, and then that has been sued and turned back on transparency. It wasn't until AB 268 that we had an oversight of medical and mental health of the jails. It's not until Monica McCurry-Step made her initiative to have oversight of For Your Body to oversee medical staff in the jails, which also has a fight against it as well from the sheriff's department. We need you guys to stand tough, stand firm, and make sure that you push back against the denial, the dodging of the issue and delaying of the issue. When Sheriff Martinez made a comment in the news saying that the oversight of medical, there's a better way to do it. The entity that she mentioned didn't even exist. It's in LA. She claimed it was in LA. Doesn't even exist. This is the outfit that we're dealing with. We need you to stay resilient. We need you to stay forthright. We need you to stay compelling to save lives in custody. So Lisa Serna was not the last, and we have more since Lisa Serna. Saxon Rodriguez was not the last. We have more since then, and we continue to grow such that we're at 8 in custody deaths already this year, and it's only the month of September.
Thank you. So next we'll call Sandy Woodall.
Please give my time to Paloma Serna.
Yes.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Melissa Serna, who died in custody on November 10th, 2019. I'm the Saving Life in Custody, California, and North County Equity and Justice Coalition. I want to talk about the death of Raymond Vogelman at George Bailey. The medical examiner ruled his death as a homicide, blunt force injuries during a fight on October 22nd. But here's what makes it worse: that Kelly Martinez's own deputies was warned 2 months earlier that Vogelman should never be placed back in Module 1A after he was assaulted there. That warning was ignored. Vogelman was put right back into Module 1 and he was killed. This is not an accident. This is negligence. This is a failure of classification, a failure to protect human life. And what Kelly Martinez's office says in the response to CLERB, they hide behind the phrase insufficient evidence to prove or disapprove whether jail population management was notified. Insufficient evidence. The evidence is Raymond is dead. The evidence is that a deputy's warning was disregarded. This is the same pattern we've seen over and over. Just making recommendation warning are ignored. People are placed in dangerous situation and they die. Then the sheriff officer responds to excuses, legal jargons, and insufficient evidence. This is why families don't trust the sheriff office, the police itself. You cannot accept that term as an answer when people are dying because of recklessness, reclassification decisions. If this system can't even keep someone safe after a clear warning, then it is broken. You must demand accountability. Demand the policies change now. Demand for Raymond Vogelman's family and for every family who has lost someone because of negligence.
Thank you. Next, I will call a caller with the name Saxon's big sister.
Hello, my name is Sabrina Weddle, Saxon Rodriguez's older sister. 6:30 is crazy. Why are we so late? And the technical difficulties, it's still horrible on our end. I can hardly hear who's speaking. I mean, can you guys get it together, please? Kelly Martinez, hello. We're on the 8th death this year. Last year, you bragged about having the lowest deaths in custody. That's not going to happen this year. Clearly, something's going on. CLERB, Pintar, I missed you last month. I was in person, not in person this month because you guys don't give a fuck. It's like talking to a wall. You guys pulled out of AB 47, probably saying it wrong, but doesn't matter because you guys don't support it. The only thing you guys support is the sheriffs continuing to fail at their sworn duties. You're telling somebody that's in person to make a complaint for what? For it to be pending, to be one of the many number of cases that you guys have on the agenda that we can't speak on because it's public comment. Can't make comments on agenda items because you guys don't care. Paul Parker would never. And this is why he's not sitting there. You guys do not care about the people, and it shows. But let me pull up the deputies' names. I almost have them memorized. Brian Powell, Andrew Randovich, Maxwell Wimple, and Andre Wans are the 4 deputies responsible for Saxon Rodriguez, July 20th, 2021, Melissa Burns, Reggie Barreto, Carrie Cavello, Reincarnation, Caitlin Hendricks, Marlena Banza, Kelly Payne, Levy Santos, Chantel Williams, the 9 nurses responsible for Saxon the day he died. The people that failed at their sworn duties, the people that continue to fail at their sworn duties, allowing people to die one day into custody is ridiculous. Kelly Martinez, you suck. San Diego Sheriffs, you suck. CLERB, you kind of suck.
Thank you, Sandy. Your time is up. Next, I will call Beverly.
Yes, I'd like to give my minutes to Paloma Serna, please.
Yes.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Elisa Serna, who died in custody on November 11, 2019. I'm the second life in custody. And with the Justice Solution. I will to address the Sheriff Department response to CLERB about the intercom system. According to the Sheriff, intercom system is very by details. Some are newer and not all don't even have the ability to allow when people push the button for help. This means in some facilities, there's no record at all. When a person begs for help through the intercoms, the Sheriff admits that the intercom cannot record audio and some cannot get application. That means if someone says, I can't breathe and dies, there's no way to prove what happened. Only the word of the deputies. How is that acceptable in a system where lives are on the line? They also mean intercoms that only serves or serves as needed. There is no schedule, no guarantee that they're tested daily. They're supposed to believe these systems will work, but the truth is, if they fail, there is no backup, no recording, no accountability. We are told deputies can control the volume of the person speaking through the intercom. That means even if someone is screaming for help, they can be turned down so low that their voice is practically silenced. And when the sheriff says there's an audible notification when the button is pressed, we don't even know if that volume or whether staff responds properly. Because again, there's no consistent law across all jails. CLERB, this is a recipe for abuse and neglect. These intercoms are the only lifeline incarcerated people have to call for help. Without recording, without laws, without strict testing and oversight, people will continue to die while their cries for help disappear into the walls. We need you to demand a full audit of every intercom system, require activation laws at all facilities, and insist on independent verification that these systems work. Lives depend on it.
Thank you. Next, I will call Diana Serna.
Hello, my name's Deanna Serna. I'm the little sister of Elisa Serna, who died in Las Colinas. CLERB, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves, and I want to give the rest of my time to my mom, Paloma.
My name is Paloma Serna. I'm the mother of Elisa Serna, who died November 11, 2019. I'm a state life in custody, California, and North County Equity and Justice Coalition. Kelly Martinez recently reported to the grand jury report on jail death. On paper, it looks like, but when you read it closely, it both delays, denials. I'm sorry. This year alone, we are seeing 8 custody deaths, and we're only in September. That means a fact 8 families are grieving. 8 families are left in the dark. 8 families desperate for the truth. And we all have the same question. Why does this keep happening? Kevin Martinez said that the death rate is the lowest in a decade. In a decade. But those are just numbers on paper. Behind every number is a person with a name, a family, a story. To those families, statistics means nothing when they are planning funerals. The fact is nearly a year has passed since the board of supervisors agreed CLERB should be able to investigate medical staff and in the jails. Almost a year and still nothing has changed. Why is it taking so long? Why do we wait? People are dying. Every delay means another life lost with no accountability. Why are we waiting months or even years to get full reports, treatment, and medical records? Why do we have to fight through lawyers, CPRA requests, and red tape just to know what happened to our loved one? If Kelly truly wants to hide, then give back the truth at the first time. Without delay, it should truly hide. So you are supposed to be the people's oversight. Families need to demand what we cannot get on our own. The radio, the records, the truth. Until there are honest answers and real accountability, these deaths will not stop. These deaths will not stop. Families are tired of excuses. We want justice and we want it now.
Right, I have one requester who submitted the request for item number 5, and I can see the line, so I will call Frank. Frank, can you hear me? Please unmute. Frank, can you hear me? All right, Chair, we have another requester. If you allow me, I can jump.
Oh, so it looks like there's another waiting,
Yes.
and then, if Frank comes back.
Jennifer, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I do.
My name is Jennifer Schmidt, the daughter of Gilbert Gill, who died Valentine's Day 2022 after 16 hours of being in the custody of the Sheriff's Department. I'd like to give my time to Patricia DeArmond.
Thank you so much. Back to the sheriff's investigation, things I forgot. Aside from being coached, there was no objectivity in their questions. The cops were given 2 opportunities because they lied the first time about how many shots were fired at my brother. They gave 2 completely different range of numbers separately. Aside from that, these investigations were voluntarily done. How disrespectful to say after your family member's been murdered that these investigations these interviews are voluntary with agreed upon questions. I have never heard of that in my life. This is unacceptable. This is somebody's life that they took away from my family. And they're over here just, you can hear it. If you listen to every officer on the SCPD case files, every interview, if you listen to them, especially in order, if you listen to them, it all starts to make sense and the cover-up becomes obvious. Patrick Harvey was given the opportunity to say that he believed all the officers did a great job. No, they didn't. My brother was left dying in the street, his yells and screams in agony, and his words saying, "I can't move," when they wanted him to crawl and roll towards his weapon. He was left to bleed out, and nobody knew what they were doing on the scene. Sergeant Rene Murillo failed as a sergeant with 17 years experience. He should have known better how to handle that situation. Life-saving medical aid was not rendered, only first aid was rendered. 2 tourniquets is not enough medical treatment after somebody's been shot at 28 times, including non-department issued, and deployed a canine afterward.
So much for time, so. Next, I will call Frank. Can you hear me, Frank? I'm asking you to unmute. Chairman Tara?
I was just gonna try also. Mr. Kingsbury, can you hear the meeting proceedings? If so, can you unmute? Are there any other speakers?
No more speakers. I have one more comment to be had for the public. Go ahead. This comment is submitted by Dale. I'm a San Diego resident. I urge the clerk to keep pressing for effective oversight of the sheriff's office, including medical service providers. We citizens continue to be appalled at in-custody deaths and very frustrated by the sheriff's unrelenting resistance. I'm angered by their rejection of reform. We support the CLERB and we are anxious to see significant changes. So that's the end of the comment, and that concludes the request to speak for item number 3.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone who gave us your comments tonight. We will move to item number 4, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Motion by Dr. Brown, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Mendelson, can you call the roll, please?
Chair Pintar.
Yes.
Vice Chair Mendelson, yes. Dr. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Federico Montague.
Abstain.
Motion. We do not have a majority.
Did you abstain because you weren't here last month? Okay. Then we will have to table approval of the minutes from last month's meeting until next month. Next item was number 5, presentation training by the Civil Service Commission. Mr. Adams could not stay because of our delay. I'm really sorry about our delay. I wish that it happened. But I just wanted to mention the reason why we were planning to have this training, and we will schedule it for another month, is that some of you may know, and maybe some of you don't know, and I wanted it to be very clear that once CLERB sustains a finding, so if we found that there has been an act of misconduct or policy has not been followed in these cases that we review, the deputies have a chance to go and ask the Civil Service Commission. Civil Service Commission approves our findings. And so I wanted him to come and tell us what they're looking for, what we can do better to make sure that our sustained findings aren't overturned, and for everyone in the public to understand that this is the process that we go through when we are reviewing these cases. Because even though we may not like the way something turned out in a particular case or in a particular incident, we are forced to only look at whether a sheriff's policy has been violated, because it's up to the Civil Service Commission to either confirm or not confirm our findings. So that's a shortened explanation, but I wanted everyone to understand why we were trying to have Civil Service Commission presentation tonight, and we will have one in the future. Did I do okay explaining that? Right. Okay, thank you. We will go to item number 6, the Executive Officer's Report. Mr. Devina. I offered the public to, if they wanted to comment on number 5, item number 5, Civil Service Commission training, which we did not have. If you wanted to comment on that during public comment, you could. Did you still want to comment on it?
Yeah.
You may.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, I probably didn't say it very clearly, but I was offering the opportunity for people to give public comment regardless of having the presentation tonight.
Thank you. Yusef Miller, Saving Lives in Custody, California. And I want to talk about the appeal of the CLERB's finding. So if the CLERB is sustained, I know you guys probably can't answer me now if you're talking to them, If the court, sustained finding is overturned, how does the community know it was overturned by them and not just not sustained by you? You need to know that. Because when it's not sustained or something we think it obviously should be, we're coming after you. We're not coming after this. We don't know about this board. We don't meet these board members. So the Civil Service Commission, they are, anonymous in this process for us. So we need to know who's overturning what. And the number of overturns, we could see if we had that. And then we can also determine one of two things. One, if your board is over-sustaining or not sustaining enough deputies, or the Civil Service Board is taking away sustainments that we think that are justified. In either way, we need to pivot ourselves to make sure we hold one of the two accountable. But right now, I don't think, as I look at the information, whether there's a determination or whether the Civil Service Board is making the determination or final determination or not. Because according to this handout, it said commission's decisions is final. Now, then that's it. We need to know somebody else did that and not you. Thank you.
I appreciate that, and I'm sorry that we don't have someone to answer all those questions, but I can tell you that their determinations are public. They operate the same way we do, so we don't necessarily see all of their deliberations. In fact, the one thing I can tell you, which was surprising to me, it is not, our cases are not reviewed by the commission as a whole. I believe one commissioner reviews each case and then makes a recommendation to the Civil Service Commission. So, and they typically have the sheriffs more input from the sheriffs that we don't always get the opportunity to interview. They have more opportunity to do that than we do, which is really why I want to have this presentation and why I'm very particular about our findings, because I don't want them to be overturned. So I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm sorry that I have presentations.
Thank you. Just let us know that that's a public meeting and we can attend. Because before 2020, when we started stabilizing California, nobody knew the clerk in the county. And so then we've been every month since 2020. So I'm glad to know that we can start showing up at this and we're saying, well, that's valuable information that you gave us. Thank you.
Thank you. They are open session.
We have also a question you wanted to speak on.
Please, go ahead. I'll come up here. There. Yeah, please speak in the microphone so people online can hear you.
Thank you very much for explaining how the process is. Thank you very much for the hard work you do. You did mention that there's one person that looks at all the cases. Is there any way that, because I feel very strongly, having a business background, that multiple eyes are going to come up with more and see things other people might not. So I would at least like to suggest before they have their presentation that that is considered, because we have a lot of impacted families that are heartbroken. And it could be just how somebody doesn't know how to write the complaint or what they're putting, or maybe somebody's eyes are, kind of on autopilot. It happens. I know it happens to me. So that's all I was going to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comments on item number 5 before I move to item number 6?
Chairman, I see listed from 4 hands up. Leslie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can I give my time to Yusuf Miller again, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so with this, item number 5 in this board, we don't know, and we'll look it up online when they actually meet. And I don't know if it's in this building or some other building, but we would like to have that more transparent than it currently is. It's not transparent at all. And when we talk about the transparency and the belief and the faith in what's going on here, I understand why the Arden family is disappointed of the sheriff's department overseeing the police department, we have so many issues like this. And if we see that those issues are being taken care of, but then someone else overturning it, then we need to know, as I explained before. So my heart, every time that the Army family comes up here and complains that blue is, and they are investigating blue, and that blue is the sheriff's department, which we've been complaining about every month since 2020, I absolutely understand. So if that problem, so to speak, is not being addressed or has been addressed here and has been overturned, is someone we need to know, and there's another report that we need to be beholden to. And in the same way, when it comes to Raymond Bowman and his determination of what goes on in his case, if his case overturned, dismissed or redirected or misclassified, and someone else changes that, we need to know that. Because there's a human being on the other end of Raymond Bowman, which is his mother, his loved ones, his such and so forth. So that's what we're all here for, and we look for your support. And
no more comments. We will now move to item number 6. Mr. Kleina.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Brett Colwine. I'm the Executive Officer. My pronouncer is to give you an overview of the activities in the last month of staff. We have conducted a number of interviews for multiple positions that we're looking to hire. We will get some people on board in the near future, which will improve our ability to get this done right. We will hopefully be able to announce some things by the next meeting. I attended a NACO regional conference in San Francisco last week.
Say what NACO is.
NACO, National Association of Civilian Law Oversight of Law Enforcement. It's a national organization that tries to unite all of the different civilian oversight bodies across the United States, and they even have members in different countries. They hold regional conferences, they hold an annual conference. It's a good opportunity for members from this board and staff to be able to go meet other people from other offices across the country. This year, myself and Chair Pintar and one of the staff members will be attending in Minneapolis. And it's a great way to learn some best practices from some of the other agencies across the country. When I was asked to participate on a panel for that, discussing about the shifting culture and support for civilian oversight across the country, there was a lot of people talking about how pendulum was swinging on the bad side, and they were losing jurisdiction, they were losing resources and funds, and there was quite a surprise when I did inform them that we are approaching at least a vote on expanding our jurisdiction and expanding our resources, because we are going to need those resources to be able to handle this new jurisdiction, which will be, if approved, the first of its kind in the United States to have both law enforcement and healthcare providers. Last month, we took a tour of the East Mesa Juvenile Detention Facility. Board member Fasano attended with us. As always, great thanks to them for having multiple people take us through, see as much as we needed to see or wanted to see in the facility. And so we're thankful for that. We are looking for another tour in October. Once Chair Summer returns, she really wanted to go see the youth detention YTC facility there in Central San Diego. Most of my time for the last, 8 months have been preparing for what we are set to do next Tuesday. It's been a significant amount of time and resources for our small staff to somehow rewrite rules and regulations and work on ordinance with our partners in order to make sure that it's right, and that we can respond to the Board of Supervisors' request for how they envision this new jurisdiction. And so, again, we will be there on Tuesday to discuss that. And then, just for information, we will separately, there's another agenda item which we discussed, AB 847, next Tuesday as well, and that'll be back to back. And just for everyone's information, just so everyone knows what Assembly Bill 847 is, it extends existing confidential access to peace officer personnel files that currently exist for grand juries, district attorneys, post, and some other federal, or not federal, but state agencies that can get access to those. They are the only ones that get access to these confidential files. And what AB 847 would do would be to extend the protections to let the confidential files go to civilian oversight. And so we expect some votes. I was explaining they had Senate committee and had their first reading, and that is anticipated to come up. So it'll be interesting. And I know Chair Pintar will talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening Tuesday. But other than that, we have 11 new cases. We had 17 closed with what we did last month, and some procedurally closed cases. So we're down to 129 open investigations, and we are going to be reviewing 8 different investigations in closed session. That's it.
Thank you. And then the shared responses to those, to our policy recommendations were included as attachments to the agenda.
That is correct.
So, thank you. I just wanted to make sure people knew that they were available to them. So this came up a couple times in public comment. Actually, I suppose I need to read myself into the next item. Board Chair's report is item 7. I will start by saying that a couple of people mentioned that, about the letter that we were at last month's board meeting, that we learned that we could not directly as CLERB send a letter in support of Dr. Chuck Collins' AB 847. But what we did do on August 18th, I sent a letter as chair of the board on behalf of CLERB to the Office of Intergovernment Relations. I believe it's the county's Economic Development and Government Affairs Office. And they in turn, 4 days later, on August 22nd, sent our letter asking the County Board of Supervisors to support AB 847. So that's the bill that it's just describing, to the Board of Supervisors. And within a very short period of time, Supervisor Montgomery Stepp agreed to take the lead on asking the full Board of Supervisors to support the legislation. And we believe that that's coming to the full Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. So in addition to asking the Board of Supervisors to please support the legislation in the form of, I believe it would likely take the form of a letter to the governor, for example, that will be at Tuesday's Board of Supervisors meeting. In addition to that, Tuesday is a big day because, as Brett mentioned, the biggest news is that our ordinance to expand CLERB's jurisdiction over medical staff for in-custody death investigations will also be before the Board of Supervisors on Tuesday. I've been in touch with the supervisors team, and I'll speak on behalf of CLERB advocating support for the proposal for the new ordinance. As I mentioned, I've been in touch with your team, and they also said that Mr. Kalina has been excellent to work with throughout this process, assisting with the language and during the meet and confer process with the employee union that represents the county's health workers. So thank you, Brett, for helping us get to where we are to be able to move forward on Tuesday. I also wanted to mention, because it came up in a news article last week in the San Diego Union Tribune, that another thing that we were able to do with Mr. Kalina leading the charge here is that we were able to work with the Finance and General Government Group to increase CLERB's budget by 25% this year. That will give us about $500,000 available to hire outside consultants to help us with this new jurisdiction. So we're not doctors, we're not medical experts, but we will be able to go out and find the exact experts that we need to help us with a particular case. So not necessarily having someone on staff all the time, because every case is going to be different. So we're going to want to go out and find the right experts to help us with each case. So that, thank you and congratulations to the team for getting that additional money. In addition, this increase in our budget will allow us to hire 2 more investigators. So Brett just gave us a summary of, I think we have 129 open cases right now, and we have 4 investigators. So when he was talking about interviewing for new staff, we are trying to find more investigators to hire to handle this workload. And the workload is going to increase, hopefully not by too much, because we only have jurisdiction for medical in death cases. So I think that was what I had from my report, but next week is a big week. And the item is number 19 on the County Board of Supervisors agenda. It should be in the morning. The meeting starts at 9 a.m. I would encourage everyone to get there as close to the start time as possible. I don't know what the timing will be, and I don't want to give you a time and then be wrong. But it will be, the item will come forward.
And 8847 is item 20.
Okay, so they will be back to back. The expanded jurisdiction will be number 19, and then 8847 will be number 20. And I will be there to speak on both of them. I'm counting on some of you will probably be there too. Okay, good. Thank you. We will now move to item number 8, which is new business. I don't believe that we have any new business tonight. Right. Actually, I just realized as part of my chair's report, I had a lot of questions for sheriff's liaisons. So I'm going to go ahead and move our liaison reports up to now. And then we'll go to board comment at the end. So if we could have sheriff liaison come forward now. You have a report for us, or do you want us to start with questions? I didn't know if you had anything for us first.
No, I think it's.
Okay. Does anyone have a question for our liaison? No.
How many different varieties of body worn cameras is the sheriff department utilizing?
I wouldn't be able to give you an exact answer, but I would say it's a 2 or 3. I can think of. There's different evolutions that Axon has come out with, and we've had the cameras for quite a long time from the law enforcement side, and then this year everybody on the detention side got cameras. So there's different evolution.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to follow up on that. So there's a newer generation, per se, of body worn cameras, depending on when they were phased in to the office.
Yes, and then without being an expert on TASER, I think they even have different types of cameras.
Okay.
But overall, yes, and then they also have a different system that supports it, whether it be cloud-based. There's a lot.
And I know that they were not phased into, that they were being phased into the detention centers gradually, meaning not all detention facilities, deputies have them, correct? Is that still the case, or do we still have some detention facilities that don't have body camera?
All the facilities.
All of them do now. Okay.
That was as a this year.
Okay. I wanted to ask about, first of all, thank you for responding to the many questions that we needed last month or the month before. One of our board members had questions about intercom systems in the detention facilities, and you, I believe you wrote a question to, who would these questions have gone to? You answered these questions about all these questions that we had about the cameras. Did you write the questions, and who answered them?
For the intercoms, I reached out to.
Sorry, I say camera.
Yeah, that's okay. I reached out to one of the project managers, the county project manager, because he knows all the ins and outs of it. providing with the questions, and then he provided the answers.
The answers.
I tried to ask questions that I thought you were asking, and I tried to ask actual ones that I would want to know.
No, I
But I
appreciate
didn't
it.
ask enough.
I asked Brett, who came up with all of these, it was a very, complete list of questions. But to sort of drill it down, it seems to me, based on the answers to these questions, that there is no way, or it is that the intercoms you've written several times, the intercom, or whoever responded wrote several times, that the intercom systems themselves are not designed to be silenced. And that the control volume for the person who's on the listening end, for the person who's speaking, cannot be controlled. So in short, there is not a way for deputies to turn off the intercoms or to turn the volume down so they can't hear somebody. Or can they? Because from this, it sounds like there's no possible way that they can turn the volume down completely so they can't hear what's happening from an intercom. They can't be turned off.
They can't be turned off, but they can turn the volume down, and I can't say 100% whether someone can hear or they couldn't hear. But they can lower the volume.
Okay, so let's say that chose to do that and there was an emergency. How would someone be in touch with a deputy in the, what's it called? I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. I've seen it, I can see it. The control area. How would they know that there was an emergency if those intercoms are turned down, the volume is down?
Well, honestly, every circumstance would depend. So sometimes the cameras can pick up what people are doing in the cells. There's different camera, so it would depend where the cell was. There's intercom. There's intercoms inside the data room as well. So every situation will be a little bit different, but they're not supposed to be turning it down unless there's a valid reason to do it, and then they would be documenting it. So if you're turning it down, then you're still responsible to monitor that cell. So if you were going to use an example, if you were lowering it for some reason, it doesn't stay lower. And even when people come in for their shifts, they have to check to make sure the volume's up where they can hear.
Is that part of a shift change assignment? You come on shift and you have to check and make sure that all the intercoms are working, or how do we know if one's not working?
Basically.
That is one of the.
And it's in our PM page, our policy. And so the person that comes in for control, they're going to check to make sure that everything working. At least to their knowledge.
Okay, so as we're reviewing, I know you can't answer anything about specific cases, but we do often get items in cases that we review related to the intercom, like it wasn't working or they couldn't hear me. So that's why we're asking these questions. So thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Sheriff about intercoms? Yes, Dr. Brown. You can please turn on your microphone. Thank you. On the right, it's the button on the right, it says microphone on. That's the first thing. Oh, this is different. Can you move over to?
Sure, in the effort to try to bring about full transparency and balance, when we are questioning you and we're having these talks or discussions, we're talking about, we want to, we know the majority of the officers are doing a great job. Thank them. But it's about the ones that don't do their job well. We want to make that clear. So with that in mind, do you all have some kind of self or inside that you hold as a policy to not patrol yourselves, but when you see a fellow officer who's doing something they shouldn't be done, how do you go about reporting them and making sure that we don't have a continuation of these incidents that make the majority, because when people talk about the sheriff's department, something one guy does over here could jeopardize the safety of another sheriff. They don't even have to be in this jurisdiction, but they could be somewhere else, but they're upset with the sheriff or the public safety for whatever reason. There should be some kind of mechanism available for you all to say, look, we have to hold each other to a higher standard accountable. I know you have something like that, but, and I don't understand this time to come back and talk about it, but I'm hoping that it's something like that. We want to thank you for your service, but we also want to keep in mind that we're talking about the 1 or 2% of whoever they are that's creating this problem for the majority of people. We're grateful for your services because we have to call on you if we need someone to help us. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And there are multiple ways that can be done.
Did you want a response from the sheriff's office in writing?
Yeah. The expectation. Yeah.
Okay, so different ways, for example, contacting the supervisor, contacting internal managers.
Sure. And maybe given, when you find that someone is doing that, keeping their fellow to the check, how would you go about rewarding them? Thank you. Because we need to make sure that that happens. More.
Okay, yeah, but a lot of it is going to be case by case, and supervisor or deputy by deputy, but they are taught to intervene if they think that something is wrong, because if you're aware of it, you can get into the same amount of trouble as the deputy that's doing something incorrect. So just for self-preservation, people are told, yeah, if you get caught that you're aware of this, someone doing something incorrectly against B&B, things like that, and you don't report it, then you're subject to punishment.
And I just have one more comment. Someone else. I wanted to thank the sheriff's office for responding to our policy recommendation regarding the Vogelman case, Vogelman staff. Our policy recommendation for members of the public who may be more aware is that the current policy reads regarding reclassification of incarcerated people, that any employee who receives information that could change from incarcerated classification code and or has him assigned it has the responsibility of assisting the JPNU deputy. JPNU, there are the deputies who are their jail population management units, what JPNU stands for. So that's what the current policy reads. But we asked that it be put in writing, that information is put in writing. And I don't, the response from the sheriff's office, this is already the practice, but it doesn't say that it has to be provided in writing. So is it provided in writing? And if the policy just doesn't say so?
So if you look, I can't remember what it is.
It's the report.
R1.
Yeah.
Something without me reading their out in front of me. Okay. They have the, let's say, for example, in an IFR, they would be documented in an IFR. Yeah. And but now this is the report. And partially person staff. You know, an interim report of control would be somebody's call. You know, they respond to the case. So now starts specifically there. And
I see.
So that's where we documented. But there could be times where they call and they're talking to Jim, giving you out, giving you space here. They want to do this person. They might ask, well, what is the police? I don't know, they're knocking along. Okay, well, the thousands, the partial people can't move everybody that they want. So KPNU's sole job is to determine who is going to be housed where, also the classifications. So they're really the experts and not necessarily the deputy in that module who just name on me. So sometimes they're just talking on the phone. And it wouldn't be necessarily something that.
So not.
The idea of me talking. No, that's what I mean. There'd be no real reason to put it in writing. Because there's really nothing going on significant enough where they're going to be moved. That makes sense.
So if it's been advised that someone be classified as put in a certain unit or not a certain unit, and then maybe that gets moved 2 or 3 times, how would the JPMU know what the original recommendation was for that person should be placed?
So if they're being moved, it's in writing. It's part of the process. So if I call JPMU and I need this person moved, the JPMU agreed, they ask the questions and all that, then I would be documented in the ISR.
So it is in writing. So that was, which is my original question, is because we asked that it be put in writing, and the sheriff's response was, we already do that, but it doesn't say that it's in writing. So I'm asking you whether it actually is in writing, and it just doesn't say so.
It is in writing. However, what I'm saying is I could call JPMU and have a conversation with them about somebody, and that may not go fine because there's no movement going to be made, there's nothing changing with the classification.
Yes, Jim, please.
It seems like what we're recommending is that there be written documentation that would affect, that JPMU would use, that affects the classification for where this person can be housed. And it seems like the answer that we're hearing right now and that we got in written responses, anytime you move somebody, it has to be in writing. But those seem to be 2 different things. One is a record of why you moved, but 2 is that information of why an individual should not be housed in a certain place or status, which could be gang related, it could be because of assault or something else. But it sure seems like we're talking about apples and oranges.
In every regard, then I apologize, and if on my end, not your end, if you're going to move somebody and they're going to, they say, hey, we need to move this person to see the racial tension, X, Y, and Z, it's going to be documented. But it's in an ISR.
Okay, so that he's it. It's exactly what Jim just said. We're not asking about whether the move itself is documented. We're asking about whether if there was a reason why a person should be housed in a particular place, where is that documented?
So it would be the justification for the move. So if somebody was not moved, it may not be.
So the first time they were moved.
Correct, they don't get moved. Nobody would just get moved. Hey, I'm gonna roll the dice.
We're not looking at justification, we're looking for prevention, so that you don't move somebody, whether it has connotations that they committed sexual crime, gang, assaultive, or racial, but we're looking for how they, because you guys have a lot of reasons why you're moving an inmate somewhere else, but how, if it's not in writing, will they know not to put that particular inmate in this particular situation, which seems to happen.
It isn't writing, JPMU might be the ones that decide, it has nothing to do with the deputy. JPMU decides who goes where, and they base it off, the risk to themselves, risk to others, their mental health, status, the race, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and JPMU does that, they don't need any deputy to tell them a single thing. That's their job, they're responsible for who is housed where and what classifications they are. But if an individual deputy decides who's not in JPMU and say, well, I want them to be moved here because of this, then that would have to get documented in an ISR. JPMU is not just going to move them without.
So, yeah, I probably misphrased that for sure, but the question is, JPMU is making those decisions. Do they have the necessary written guidance or direction of where not to put that inmate?
Yes,
right.
Yes, JPMU does all of that stuff. So and they're documenting where they're putting their, I don't know the best way to explain this, I follow it. They hopefully, they have all the information as to person's charges, not just their current charges, their charges prior, where they would.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Nars, did you need to tell me something?
Yes, I have Kurt Carty hands up, so maybe he wants to add something. You on that? Carty from the sheriff's office.
Okay, sorry, I could refer to, but yes, please.
Cardi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Right, why don't you tell them to? Yeah, go ahead.
Kurt's a sergeant in my unit, and he's the clerk liaison. So he
Okay.
deals directly with the investigator, he provides them all the information.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, I just wanted to make sure we knew who was speaking to us. Kurt. Kurt, you have the floor.
First, can you hear me?
Okay, well, we might follow up with you after this meeting, but I do think we're talking around each other a bit.
If you like, what I can do is, I can get something from JPMU, and I can provide you with the process, the procedures, how we
An
document.
interruption. I lost audio feed.
Explain what JPMU means to the public, I can say so.
Jail population management.
Right. Okay, so what is the system is the person, what is the group of people?
It's a group of people, a lot of times we'll put in a classification. Okay, so there's different classifications, that incarcerated, person might receive, and they are the ones that, determine who's gonna get what classification and for different accounts. Yes, so they,
And when you have JPMU give us this information, I think that hypothetically, what we're looking for, perhaps trying to get our arm around this is, let's just say hypothetically had an issue where an inmate is in a location, jail modules, or whatever, and there's an assault that took place. And so the people that are aware of that are the deputies that are on the floor and responding. Are they providing, and let's say they have a recommendation, we just want to make sure that that ends up going to JPMU. JPMU has it in writing, so that if there's a subsequent movement of that inmate, whoever the individual was that first heard that may not be on duty that day, whoever else is on duty, that information. That makes sense.
it does, that information would go to JPMU. JPMU is the one that's making the change. So they would never make the change without knowing, getting that information from the deputy. It would have to be documented as to why.
I think what we're looking for is just reassurance in conjunction with the recommendation that Chair Pintar had, was that JPMU has that in writing so that it's available to anybody in JPMU that might be involved in making a subsequent movement of that inmate.
Yes.
Mr. Cardy, did you want to speak, or? I can't tell if he wants to speak, or it's just, he doesn't have his name. No, so, we're going to, unless there's any other questions for our liaison, Chair's case, I'm going to go on to probation. Thank you.
Thanks.
Please.
I just want to let the board know, probation did provide the documents that were ordered by the court to be turned over, and they provided that to us, and we're now just trying to get our hands wrapped around all that information, that they did provide that to us in the time that they did say they were going to, so.
Thank you.
Good evening, Anna News, Community Probation.
I wasn't here last month, so I don't know if you have a report for us this month, or you're just open for questions tonight. Just open for questions, okay? Anyone have, questions for Ms. Dina? We appreciate the information that we received. I believe, how many cases did we get information on? 14, so we will have 14 probation cases to review. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so I jumped down to our liaisons. I have a lot of questions. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. So I'm going to now move back. Number 8, new business. We don't have anything tonight. There is nothing on the agenda for unfinished business. I'm not aware. Right? Okay. And I'll move to number 10, board member comments. Anyone, Mr. Mendelson, and then Arya?
I just wanted to be known, we're very sensitive to the fact that we were supposed to start at 5:30. We couldn't start it until later on. And it's not the fault. There's individual circumstances. You know, we had a couple people come in here late. We have to have a quorum. But what I would like to emphasize is that we're going to take it very seriously to make sure that each one of us board members has a personal responsibility to make sure that the executive officer, Lima, and his staff is aware of our availability for our monthly meetings. Our monthly meetings are scheduled. You can see them. It's going to be the first Thursday of each month. And I know that the staff spends some effort trying to find out whether we're going to make sure we have a quorum, but that's something we as board members must do. We must take it on as our personal responsibility to notify the executive staff of our availability so that we don't end up in a situation where we don't have a quorum. There's too much we have to do. We have at stake, and it's too much of an interruption to our visiting public.
Thank you, Mr. Mendelson. I will just second that. Ariana, did you have something?
Yeah, I did want to apologize for being late. I thought I was going to be able to be online, because I did request an accommodation. There's excuses, but, just do want to apologize. I did see that the portal for the County Board of Supervisors, the comment is open, so if you're not available to attend the board meeting for agenda item 19 or 20, there is opportunity to submit public comment, and it really does help. Last week we worked on the ad hoc committee on probation, and it shows really board supervisors, their staff, what the public thinks. And I think that the e-comments are a really great opportunity to provide, the support that a lot of, Marianne, the executive committee, and the EO and our investigators have been working towards with the board of supervisors. So I really just want to put that's already open, and I hope that we can have those support both sides. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say something.
Hang on, wait.
Some people apologize and having emergency medical situations at home and totally forgot about everything except taking care of the situation. So it happened, and that was it for me.
Yeah, I tried to make it clear, not trying to point anything into the two people that have just spoken apologies. They don't owe you an apology. There's something else is that we have to comply with the Brown Act. We've learned from council. We actually thought that we could have a quorum. A quorum for us right now is 4 members by having Ms. Mondrian participate online. But when council pointed out to us the exact wording of the Brown Act, we have to all have a quorum of 4 people physically present at the same place. So again, the big thing is we're really sensitive to the inconvenience to you, to why we have to make sure that we don't end up with another quorum issue.
Thank you, everyone. I know that there were medical circumstances, and I'm sorry that we thought we were able to accommodate you online at Ariana. It turned out to be the case, but I do very much appreciate that you brought up the e-comment option portal on the Board of Supervisors, because the meetings are during the day. A lot of people work during the day. It's hard to come down here during the day and sit for hours to make public comment at these meetings. But the e-comments are distributed to the supervisors, and people do, your voices, they matter here, and they matter during those meetings. And I talked a little bit about the ordinance that's coming to the board on Tuesday. And I didn't say, which I should have said, is to thank you, all of you. It is your voices here all the time that helped push this to happen. So we really appreciate it, and we are all going to do our best to try and make sure that this passes on Tuesday. Oh, thank you for that reminder. The board offices have notified us that they expect a lot of people to be speaking. So if you are planning to come and speak in person, the time might only be a minute, down from whatever's 2 or 3 minutes. I just want you to be aware of that. So I know a lot of you write your comments in advance. It could be as short as a minute. Okay. With that, I think that brings us to the end of our meeting. Mr. Bennett, can you read us into closed session, please?
Yes, Honorable Chair, there are 3 closed session items. The first is conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigations, significant exposure to litigation. Pursuant to Government Code Section 6.9D2, there is one case discussed under that aspect. Public employee performance evaluation, executive director, that's Government Code Section 497, and public employee discipline, dismissal, release, and that is relative to discussion of complaints that are deemed confidential in Penal Code Sections 32.5 or 32.7, and that closed session is authorized under Government Code Section 497. That will conclude my closed session report.
Thank you. Public meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.
Madam Chair, may I ask if I